I'm telling you, it might look like herpes, but it's not.
Right. 3, 2.
Hello,
There we go.
freak bitches.
You're gonna get sued by Joe Rogan for that one.
Nah, fuck.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Third Hook podcast. Finally here. I know we talked about it months ago and we said we had episodes recorded, and we did, but this is what we're holding off for, this big kick-ass studio. So we wanted to kick the show off with a bang, so we thought we'd wait out for this. So this is going to be a little introduction episode to what the podcast is going to be about. So Jimmy, you want to elaborate on what kind of things we're going to be doing?
Yeah, so we've got a lot of guests coming on. We've got stacks of guests coming on, but it's sort of going to be like a mental health sort of, not so much motivational, but sort of like a kick along to show how people deal with a lot of situations and stuff.
Not so much a pat on the back, it's more like a foot up the arse to say, other people overcome adversity.
Yeah.
You can do it too. And we're going to try and show that through our guests, through video content, day in the life type things of local fighters. Local fighters, we've both been local fighters ourselves.
Being a local fighter is the worst thing in the world.
It sucks. You got 2 sessions a day, you got to worry about diet, you got a fight coming up and you have to go work a full-time job. Or, for someone like me when I was younger, I was either at high school or uni while I was fighting pro, trying to get my study done. It didn't work out.
Well, what were you studying?
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say my result. It's embarrassing. But anyway, yeah. So I guess we'll ramble off what kind of things we're going to do. We've got still going to do those like Harley rides. Yeah. One day we'll get around to it. Seminars for charity. We want to help. As many charity organisations as we can.
We really want to give back to like just good causes. Any not specific good causes, but just any good cause that comes to mind. Obviously, there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now that we can try and help after all the dust is settled.
We can't really do a seminar because
not now, but when the dust is settled, we can kick back on. But There's a lot of stuff that we can do to help, and hopefully by us helping, other people will decide that they want to help too.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a little seminar for the bushfires.
Yeah,
that was a good success. Heaps of people. So things like that, try and keep it as non-profit as we can. Obviously, we're gonna have expenses to bring guests out. We've got some pretty big name guests that are gonna jump on, and we're also gonna be having a laugh at the same time.
Massive laughs.
So, but yeah, while we're here anyway, we might as well recap UFC Auckland. So. You and myself obviously had some good wins. Yep. Sort of half for Dad's Army, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is.
It's the way the sport
it could
goes.
be the opposite next time.
Yeah.
Next time around,
no. It won't be.
Nah. But let's recap that. How did you find the whole experience fighting in Auckland? Do you like it?
Yeah, I love fighting anywhere. I could fight in Antarctica and I'd enjoy it. I think it was just awesome having the whole team over there, and even though we went half, just having the boys around, win, lose or draw, it just makes the whole thing feel real special.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't try that for the world. Just having that environment, the atmosphere.
Well, how long have we been talking about getting our group on the card? The only thing that could have made that better is if Daniel Kelly was still fighting, but he cornered all of us, which. He was in the cage with all of us. Props
for Dan. That was like a massive night for him. But and fighting in New Zealand, it feels like we're fighting at home anyway.
Yeah, I felt like a hometown fighter when I walked out.
And the crowd's all backing us.
Super loud.
So it was good. But I loved it. I wish we could every event could be like that, and we could have a big team going in because it feels. Because I miss the old footy days where we used to you have a big team and your training sessions all together. Because obviously we train together, but when one person's got to fight. And you're sort of going into that event on your own, it is a bit lonely sometimes.
Mate, MMA is the loneliest sport in the world for considering how many people help you get to where you are. Once you enter the ring, it's you versus your opponent. There's no one else. Yeah. So even fight week sometimes feels like you're sort of there by yourself. But even though you got your coaches there and stuff, but I can't recall a night that we weren't all catching up, even though we couldn't fucking eat shit all. We were all going out for lunch and. Just hanging out with the boys, it felt really good.
And that's what we want to do. We want to give people an insight into that. I mean, it's not all, big bright lights and getting knockouts and getting
That's like bonus. 5% of it, isn't it?
Oh, not even. When you work out the time we're in the actual octagon, the time we're training, like myself, I've got 15-month-old. She's in daycare a couple of days. The rest of the time, she's with me, coming to training sessions. You know, changing nappies in between training sessions, getting home to get fed, going to another training session, teething, 2 hours sleep a night, and still having to get there every day. You know, sometimes I wouldn't like to, but Dan Kelly's breathing down your neck. You have to.
Yeah, it's more like discipline than like getting motivated or anything. Just being disciplined makes it.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a job at the end of the day. You know, some people, you know, if you're doing it for fun, you can take the day off. We can't. We don't have that luxury.
Well, at the end of the 8 weeks or the 12 weeks, whatever it is, you're fighting someone who's, if you haven't prepared right, they're gonna fucking knock you unconscious in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we want to show. Give everyone an insight into what it's like to be a fighter. You know, we're not these knuckleheads that get locked up with collars on us at the end of the fight until the next fight. We go home. We've got families. We've got kids, partners.
You do.
So I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good for people to see that they can relate to us more. Give them, you know, because I know the UFC have their prime times and countdowns. Even those, you know, are pretty glamorous because they're following around champs and things like that.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the low level fighters, local fighters especially, it's going to be good for the fans to be able to relate.
Yeah.
And know what they're going through. So, you know, if someone has a bad fight, it's you know, a lot of the time it's probably something personal's going on in their life that just head's not in it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't always go into a fight 100%. Very rarely do you actually. So hopefully maybe the fans will have a bit of empathy, sympathy towards fighters who lose now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's sort of part of what we sort of signed up for it. But all this, you know, all the trash talking and stuff from fans about the fighters. If people talk about me and my fights and, you know, bagging me out, I don't really mind. So when I see about other fighters, I don't like it, especially my mates.
Mate, I don't I used to like read the forums and stuff. I don't anymore on my stuff. I don't care. I used to care. I don't care anymore. But like, I posted something of Ben before his contender fight, and someone got on there and started ripping into Ben. And I was like, "Who the fuck are you, mate?
Yeah.
Like, come see me."
A lot. Yeah, Ben's been through a lot. He's still, you know, it's not as if he's in the UFC and he's making millions. He's still grinding every day, pushing hard. And that's the thing people don't see, but that's the thing we want to show people.
What about, like, you rock up the Dad's Army and there's fucking... they're all shitbox cars out the front. There's no fucking Lambos.
Yeah, so you've got your nice new van now. I got a ute. But so I had a van. You had a little workmate.
Yeah.
Ben's got, I don't even know what that is. Like a little jelly bean looking thing.
Little jelly bean.
Carl Potter's driving a Hyundai. You know, a lot of the boys catch the train that don't have a car.
Yeah.
You know, you think there'd be friggin' like Mustangs and things parked out the front, but it's not the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, so on a good note, we both got the win in Auckland.
Yep.
Recap your fight quickly for us.
Yeah, basically just stuck to the game plan and the game plan that Daniel and Sam put together. This was, you know, what's weird. This is the first time that I've gone into a fight with a plan. With like I knew. Oh, sorry, Sam. I went in like that with Sam Alvey, but this fight was like the first time on the ground, on the feet. I didn't care where it was. I knew what I had to do backwards and forward, and that was really weird for me. Because normally I just go in there and just fucking start swinging punches.
Yeah.
So yeah, we was able to just implement that game plan that we worked for. We had a long camp. How long was that camp for? 14 weeks or something? Yeah. 16 weeks. It was ridiculous with a week off in between.
Started before Christmas. So.
Yeah, it was a very long camp. And yeah, it was just able to implement that game plan that was put in front. Yeah, it went exactly how we expected it to.
And then the day that it doesn't, then you adapt and you change.
Yeah, well, we had plan A, which worked right off the bat, and we had plan B, C.
Did it work? You smashed him.
Yeah,
poor bloke.
If I couldn't have taken,
he's really a middleweight. He's really middleweight.
You can't say that because
that annoyed me.
You know what? These fuckers.
He jumped in there. He knew he was jumping in there to fight, and he was confident he was going to win. So you can't say afterwards, he's actually a middleweight.
These fuckers. Those are people that say that are the same fuckheads that were saying that I was going to get killed by a body shot and that Michal was too fast and too fuck off. Anyway.
And they've done a 180 now.
Yeah, and then they go. So yeah, and your fight, man, that was.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be a fun fight, action packed. He's just full of energy, you know, Emil. And up till that fight, probably Kevin Lee was the nicest guy post fight that I've ever competed against. Emil's.
Really?
He's the nice guy. He messaged me like a couple of days later on his layover on the way home, and he's asking me how I'm feeling.
Oh,
my leg pulled up all right.
My guy deleted his social media.
Did he?
Yeah, he deleted his social media.
Yeah, he's never allowed. He can't go back to Poland anymore.
He's not allowed back in
He's
Poland.
been disowned. But no, like the whole event, you know, it would have been good to get fourth Dad's Army, but I was super stoked with how it all went.
Yeah, I want you to tell the story about when you hit him and you thought you knocked him out, and then he was talking to you as he went down.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, dude, you should have just jumped on him and you would have finished him." And I was like, "Okay." So I uppercutted him. He's still got some of his beard up in the lighting rig from how high he went. And as soon as he hit the floor, he's like, "Jake Matthews, fucking beautiful punch." And I'm just like, "Oh, so I'm not going to gas myself." This guy's still with it.
What a nutter.
So I hit him with like a nice knee, hit him with that uppercut, the atomic uppercut.
Bro, that was the fucking best. That was like, if he didn't have such a good chin, that would have been like a Francis Ngannou.
I always land my good punches against the guys who have the good chins, Jing Liang, Emil. But, and then I hit the spinning back elbow, which landed nice and flush. Just tough, resilient guy.
What a nutter.
90% of the other fighters probably would have been out from one of those three. So I'll just keep at it and I'll get my knockout eventually.
Yeah, bro, you definitely got the fucking power there. I can tell you that firsthand.
Yeah. Well, so part of this podcast, we're going to do questions from fans. So there's some silly ones, Bunnings, Snagger, HSP, all that stuff. For this one, we're going to focus on people who just want to, for this intro episode, just people just asking about MMA. Obviously, they maybe want to fight for a living when they're older. They want to get into the sport. So it's directed at both of us. So the first question we've got is, how did we balance training, school/work? So how did you manage to study, if you did, or work and train at the same time? I
didn't finish year 9. I went and got a real job. I went and got a job. I started working full time when I was 16, I think. I got a plumbing apprenticeship. And I got to nearly my third year in that. And I was training full time. But I think they got sick of me leaving early to go train. So they got rid of me. But man, I was probably at the worst of it. I was working as a storeman in Bendigo. This is probably the most hours I was doing. I was working full time, 40-hour week, and then I was training with Sam Greco in Melbourne. So that's a 2-hour drive there to train with Sam, and then a 2-hour drive home. So I'd start work at 7, go to training in Melbourne afterwards, drive home, and get to bed by 10 or 11. And then I'd do that every day. I'd do that 5 days a week. I'd come down to Melbourne and back. And then on the weekends, I'd just stay down in Melbourne and train. I did that for about 8 months until I decided to move down. And then I got a job as a storeman in Melbourne in the freezers. So you probably remember me rocking up the training and I'd rip off all my freezer gear and I'd be frozen stiff for the first 3 fucking rounds. But that was a bit hectic. But I was able to train more because that was 40 hours for 4 days. So I had 3 days off. Yeah. So I was able to just smash out like 2 or 3 sessions a day for my 3 days, but they were really early morning, so I was getting crook a lot, being in the cold and stuff. And then finally moved down.
So you pretty much just grinded it out.
Just grinded it out. I grinded it out for.
I think there's a very few people, especially there's different countries in the world they're brought up different, especially in the Midwest in America. Different breed, like kids especially, just. They know how to work and they know things don't come easy. Well,
the thing with me is I don't have like a rags to riches story. I had a very comfortable life in Bendigo.
So did I. Yeah.
My mum and dad, like they're not rich, they're not poor, they're somewhere in the middle. But like I always had a roof over my head and always had food. Where I sort of like left that. I didn't have to. I left that. And man, there was times like when I was in Melbourne, I was like. So I had before I got a house in Melbourne, I was sleeping in my car, or like I had to choose between putting food in my belly or fuel in my car to get the training. So, it's one thing to have like a rags to riches story, but then there's another thing to have a comfortable life.
You put yourself
and move away from that to sort of chase a dream. So that's sort of like my story, I think.
Yeah, mine's very similar. Yeah. I mean, I was lucky enough to be living at home, didn't have a mortgage to pay, didn't have kids to feed, so I was able to focus solely on training. My parents supported me through that whole time. But yeah, I've done this since I was 16.
Yeah. Your first your amateur
first amateur fight, I was 16. Yeah. I'd never had a job, but I was at school and uni. And I pretty much balanced that. I still put study first, especially year 10, 11. Year 12, I started fighting pro, so that's when it started going downhill. And then I was at uni, and it was pretty much that all come first. If I had something to do for uni, training we could put in the back burner, I'd do what I had to do for uni. But at the moment, I mean, even still, it's a grind. Like you're driving from Bendigo, I'm clocking over 1,300 k's a week in the car.
It's easy done.
Just because it's hard. these big gyms in America, they've got, super gyms. They've got all these great coaches in one gym, all these training partners. We don't have that. We're going to Resilience for sparring. I go to Dandenong, Berwick for hitting pads, Tullamarine doing jiu-jitsu. So there's a lot of driving going on, and with a baby as well in the car. So the grind it doesn't stop. It doesn't. It never gets comfortable with this sport.
And I think the day it does become comfortable is like the worst fucking thing that could ever happen. Because if you sort of think that you made it and you take your foot off the gas,
yeah, you get complacent.
You don't just stop improving. You start going backwards, and then everyone else around you is fucking improving too.
Yeah. Alright, so second question. I'll let you answer this one. Someone's asked, can you explain how uninjured fighters refuse fights?
This
Pussies.
Mate, fucking pussies, eh? I'm not going to go into too much detail about the injuries I fought with.
Go on, name names.
Everyone could see the big fucking thing on my knee for my last one. I've seen a lot of fighters pull out because of that exact same injury, and not fight for a long time because of it. But if you want to fight, you will find a way. Like there's injuries and stuff that can stop you fighting, and there's illnesses. But if you want to fight, you're going to find a way to fucking fight.
Yeah.
And I honestly, the only way I wasn't fighting is if I couldn't walk. If I just couldn't kick and could box, I would still fight.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're the same. I don't know of any injuries you fought with, but I guarantee you there's probably
I've been pretty fortunate and not had too many bad injuries. If the day did come, I like to think I just push through it and fight. I mean, I had to have a dual hip surgery, so that was pretty significant. And I fought. I mean, I knew I had an issue. Probably 4 or 5 fights before I actually got the surgery done. So I was just pushing through that, going into fights. I had a fractured hip in one of my fights. Still had another fight after that. There's always little niggles. You're never 100%. You're never going. If you took a day off training every time you had a sore finger or a sore knee, you'd never train.
Do you know the only fight that I've gone into uninjured was the Misha Serkinov fight?
Yeah,
that's the only fight.
Maybe you got complacent because you felt so good. Sometimes you go in injured, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna have to go 110% because I'm not feeling 100% myself. So you actually push harder.
I find it like refocus. If something goes wrong in camp, it refocuses you. Where a lot of things went wrong in the Misha camp, like Sam having hard, but like physically nothing went wrong. And I think when you're in the best shape of your life, it sort of adds an extra layer of pressure to the way you fight early on in the fight. You think that, I'm in the fucking best shape of my life. I need to go out there and kill this guy early. When it doesn't actually work like that.
That's it.
So,
all right, let's go. So in other words, it's sort of not. Depends on the severity of the injury, but there's not really an excuse for.
Mate,
especially people just don't want to fight because of the opponent. That's.
You know what I find? A lot of these guys, they have like a good performance, or they have or they beat one big name, and then they think they should only get big names after that. Do you notice that?
Oh yeah, and then they sort of
they hold off.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's not boxing. You work your way up. The fights you get given are the fights that you've earned. I believe.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the way it works, you fight someone higher ranked, and then you fight someone same rank, maybe lower, then you fight someone higher ranked.
You can't always be.
These guys have been watching too much Floyd Mayweather shit.
Yeah, you don't get the pick and choose. Even the champions shouldn't get the pick and choose unless. If you're...
I think the UFC done a good job of that. Like no one outside of the top 5 has ever fought for a belt, I don't think.
Oh,
maybe an odd occasion.
Like when Hendo... The thing is, like, if you're like a champion that's had like 3 really hard title defenses, maybe you do deserve to have like... Or like... Say like... I know I saw an interview with Chris Weidman the other day, and he was saying that he wants a tune-up fight. And everyone was giving him shit, and he goes, hey, no... I've fucking fought everyone from the top 5 for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I need a tune-up fight.
Yeah. I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that. But, like, turning down fights because they don't suit you.
if anything, more respect for him fighting someone lower ranked.
Yeah.
Because that's a bigger deal than fighting someone higher ranked. You have nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Except for fight.
That's how I feel.
You get someone who's lower ranked, they've got everything to gain.
They come in for what you get.
You could smash them and people just look at you and say, yeah, you should have. You're higher ranked. So you don't really gain anything from that. But all right, let's... Best advice for someone who's new to MMA?
Be disciplined.
Let's just say, let's say just 2 bits of advice you
got. Be disciplined and surround yourself with good people.
I was going to say, surround yourself with good people. And just, I guess, nothing. So everything, everything good in life is on the far side of hard work. So you got to treat it as a marathon or a sprint. You're not gonna. I know guys are saying, "Oh, do you think I could be in the UFC in 2 years?" And I just entertain them and be like, "Oh yeah, if you train hard enough, you can, you know." But there's no way. Maybe I should be a bit more strict. Just tell them the truth. But I don't know. People just seem to want things quick these days and not have to work for it.
Yeah, if you're you can bet the UFC in 2 years if you're prepared to fight 4 times a year and fight the best guys in the country over and over again.
Yeah. And, you know,
and not even prepared to do it if you win.
Yeah, but people honestly, they say, "Oh, do you think I'll be ready to fight pro in 6 months?" And they've done minimal training. And you know, if I'm coaching them, I'll be honest and say, "Look, I'm not going to let you fight unless I think you're ready."
Yeah.
But that mindset is hard work. You know, and they're so adamant they want to be in the UFC and they want to fight pro, and then they have their first fight and they lose, and then that's it.
So
it's like, oh, it's too hard. No.
I feel like I sprinted to the UFC as fast as I could. I got there and
I feel like I pretty much got there as fast as you can as well.
Yeah.
Within a year, I went pro and then 19, so just over a year.
Yeah. What I did is I pretty much fucked every other distraction off in my life. My mates didn't see me for 3 years. I just put my head down and worked my ass off. I put training before work. I lost a lot of, like, I didn't lose. I gave up a lot of good jobs. Like, as a second year apprentice, I was getting paid over $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
And I gave that up to focus on training and moved to Melbourne. So, like, if you're prepared to do the work, yeah, you can get there pretty soon. But a lot of people think that they're prepared to do the work, and until they get punched in the head for the first time.
It's
for the first time.
You never get used to it.
Because
if they think it's a shock the first week, first month of hard training,
it gets worse.
It doesn't get easier. It gets worse. As as we've mentioned before, as you get fitter, you push hard. It's not like as if I'll get used to this. It's like, no, you wake up every day and you saw. I've had my partner. I've had one day she literally had to get her hands under me and sit me up in bed because I could not sit up.
Mate.
My back was gone. My legs were sore. And you know what? I still got up and still did 2 sessions that day.
You got it.
Pretty sure I sparred that day as well.
Yeah.
And I got pummeled in sparring.
You wouldn't have made any excuses for it?
No.
Except for with me.
Yeah.
Nah, not really.
It's too big.
It's too big.
Too heavy.
Nah, but like, you were pro for a year before you got signed. Yeah?
Just over a year. Yeah. So pretty much 18th birthday around that time I fought. First pro fight. Actually, I technically had my first pro fight when I was 17, but I sort of sneakily did it and I got in trouble. So first legit pro fight was when I was 18, just after my birthday, and then when was it? June the next year. So
that's fucking
just
crazy,
over it. Yeah.
That's what, like, people don't fucking realise. Like,
but I was 7 fights.
You know, 7 fights
10 amateur. So 7 fights in just over a year. Sorry, it's just over a year. And 10 amateur fights before that as well.
I think we've talked about this before, but when people look at your career, they don't fucking get that. They really don't. You're 25 now?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Nah, it's
got a bit of miles on the old freaking wheels, but
but experience though. Experience is what matters at this sport.
All right, this one's for you specifically. Who do you want to fight next?
I want to fight them all.
Don't say Misha.
Misha, serve it up. No, I said I need one more fight before I do that.
Yeah.
I feel like with rematches you have to earn them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And one, as I said before, one big fight doesn't entitle you to fucking fight who you want.
One loss to make up for that equates to like 3-4 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Pretty much, you know.
That's if the other guy is staying active. Misha hasn't been active, so maybe like 1 or 2 more.
Yeah.
But I don't really I don't give a fuck. I just want to fight anyone. I'm
the same. I don't call out anyone and talk shit. I just leave it up to the matchmakers. That's their job. Yeah. They're the best in the world at it, and they've always done right by me, and I just leave it up to them.
Yeah. The thing is,
give me the person, the location, the date. I sign the paper. That's it.
I just what I've learnt to do recently is just focus on my game, and if you start trying to pick and choose who's going to be a good fit for you,
and also the guys who do that, they seem to not fight as often because they're waiting out for that one fight.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're smashing fights, getting wins, getting paid. It's
Yeah, it's a lot different when it starts becoming like some guys can take it 1 or 2 ways. They can try and fight as much as they can to make as much money, or they can try and pick fights that they're going to win so they make more money. And I'm always the one that's going to, if I can try and smash out more fights.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not about. I mean, when you get to a certain level, and obviously this is our career now, so money is a factor. It might sound a bit superficial, but it is our career. It's not as if we do. I think people think we do it for fun. This is how we put food on the table.
I fight for fun, but I don't do all the training and dieting and shit for fun. So you can pay me for that.
All right, so we've got one more question from the fans. So we'll say this one at the same time. So what's your favourite podcast? So we'll do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Joe Rogan Experience.
I don't watch podcasts.
You don't watch podcasts?
I watch Joe Rogan.
I thought I thought we were going to say it at the same time. It backfired on me.
You're fucked.
I thought it'd be cool.
I watch Joe. I'm such a casual when it comes to podcasts. No,
I go through phases.
My favorite podcast is The Third Hook.
Oh, obviously, yeah. Me too. But we have to do a collaboration with Joe Rogan once The Third Hook gets big.
Yeah, we'll take over this game.
Joe on.
This is my game now.
Joe will be honoured to be on our podcast.
Yeah.
So but pretty much, I mean, those questions we covered are pretty much. I'll pick those questions because that's sort of the basis of what this podcast will be about. Like I said, it's going to be an absolute laugh. Some of the guests we've got on, it's just going to be a pisser. But we want to, obviously MMA based and UFC based, and not only for fighters and people who are training, getting over adversity and mental strength in that sort of way, but just in normal life. The guests we've got coming on, they vary from what we've got: physios, podiatrists, nutritionists, AFL players, musicians,
comedians,
other fighters, comedians. We're going to keep it fairly broad. And with each of those guests, we want to touch on. It doesn't matter what profession you're going to come through adversity. Even like you mentioned, comedians, they're probably doing gigs for free.
Yeah.
Always you're not getting paid, but that's how you got to build your way up. And we just want to show everyone, there's probably a small percentage of people that probably fell into something, maybe for whatever it is, money or family. But majority of people and athletes that you see, they've worked for it hard. And you see all the glitz and glamour at the moment, but it's not how it is.
Yeah, and it's a glitz and glamour for us, it's glitz and glamour for a week, really. And
I don't consider. Oh yeah, after the fight, yeah. And glitz and glamour for me is sitting on the couch with my daughter, just relaxing, watching freaking Wiggles.
But whatever, like all the fucking fancy hotels and fucking like getting looked after and shit and all that only lasts for a week.
Man, the reality of it is, I've been over in the States with some of these fighters, and the reality is 3-4 professional fighters living in one house together, renting because they can't afford anything else.
That's how it is, man.
And putting everything into it for 10 years, and probably less than 1% of all fighters around the world make it. So these guys, they haven't invested in getting into a relationship. They don't have kids. They don't have a solid job. They're in their early 30s. They don't make it. So now they're just taking PTs for the rest of their life, renting with other fighters.
Yeah.
So, it's a massive gamble. We put everything on it.
It's a ruthless game.
Yeah, and that's the reality. I mean, the way I see it, the reality is what the majority of fighters are going through. Not fighters in the UFC, just fighters in general, professional fighters. And that's a very small percentage of people that have it good and driving fancy cars.
Most people get out the other side of CTE.
Yeah,
and some cool stories.
Pretty much. So I can't emphasize enough that that's what we want to show everyone, portray that. And make the sport a bit more relatable. Try and get a little bit of sympathy, so we're not getting lose a fight. We're not getting bagged. Because people, they love you when you're winning.
They're share bros, bro.
And you have one loss, and you're the worst fighter in the world. Everyone hates you.
I noticed that after I got back from Vancouver, like normally when I get back, or like even when I get back to Bendigo, I get stopped like heaps of time for photos and. All the media's on my nuts trying to fucking get me in for interviews and stuff. And then when I got home from Vancouver, didn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
And then I remember that. So when I got back from Auckland, all the media's trying to get me. I'm just like, fuck off.
Yeah. And that goes to show. I mean, I think that makes you more. It opens your eyes to what it's really like. So we're so nice to all the media and everything, but it's not reciprocated. To me, that's if you're not winning, they don't want to know you.
There's a few guys that are good.
Yeah,
but I'm
not talking about everyone, but probably majority of them. If you're not winning, they don't want to know you, and it's good. I've had my eyes open, slowly, it's just a learning curve.
Yeah,
anyway. But hopefully that gives everyone an insight into sort of, I guess, we've sort of covered us in this little intro episode, and now we're going to have all our guests in, going to get their origin stories, their adversity, how they've been through it. And we've got my little bell here for story time. So if you hear anything juicy, they got to tell it. There's no filter here. And also, I guess if anyone wants to jump on and be a sponsor of the podcast, please reach out. Or any charities out there that want to work with us, would be more than happy.
Yep.
You have anything to add to finish it off?
Nah, man. I'm just pumped to see how this thing turns out, because we're really excited and really passionate about doing this thing.
I think it's going to be big. So so I appreciate everyone's support. Just continue listening each episode. We've got some massive guests coming on. Hopefully, good content. Keep bringing your questions through each episode. The night before, I'll post it up. So if you've got questions, please ask. We'll try and get through as many as we can. But if not, we'll try and cover them in the next episode. So thanks very much, guys. And we'll be back with the first episode shortly.
Peace out, guys.